Welcome to Sacrilegious Discourse.
For this is what the Sovereign Lord says.
Why do you need prophets to tell people who you are and what you want?
If you can justify everything that the God of the Bible has done, then you can justify any of your behavior.
A lot of this mentality is trickling into what is now mainstream right-wing Christianity.
I am capable of empathy greater than this God of the Bible.
This is a Bible that they tell kids. This is the good Lord. This is the good book. He is fantasizing about murder, mass murder.
Head over to sacrilegiousdiscourse.com right now to find out how to leave us a review or support us on Patreon.
Hey there, sinners and saints. It's your favorite Bible-bashing duo from Sacrilegious Discourse, and we need your help.
That's right, folks. We're raising funds for some heavenly equipment and a studio that doesn't sound like it's in the depths of hell.
Our current setup, let's just say it's more apocalypse than audiophile.
So if you want to hear us dissect the Bible without the background noise of demonic squirrels, chip in a few bucks.
We're aiming for $5,000 to upgrade our audio and build a studio worthy of blasphemous banter.
Donate today and help us spread the good word of atheism.
You can find a link right on our homepage, sacrilegiousdiscourse.com. Every dollar counts.
Even if it's from your collection plate. Husband!
Wife!
Guess what we're doing today?
Well, we are wrapping up Nahum.
Nahum!
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, we are.
So this was a short book.
It was.
Yeah, and
but it was pretty meaty.
And there was some good poesy in it.
Yes.
You know, it was all right. Like as far as books go, this one I didn't love it because it's still God killing people.
Right.
But it wasn't the worst one we've read.
No, the writing actually helped me not hate it as much.
Yeah.
Because I can get down with good writing.
Like, look how pretty this mass murder is. It's amazing.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's great stuff.
Sure.
So before we get into it, I do want to say one thing here. Mm-hmm. I just want everybody to know, that's part of our base out there, that Google has capitulated to calling the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America.
And this is bullshit because the United States of America has no authority to just willy-nilly decide to rename entire bodies of water.
There's a whole other world of people out there that still want to call that probably the Gulf of Mexico if I had to. I mean, unless they're capitulating also to Trump.
Well, Trump's executive order means nothing on the world stage.
Yeah.
So, protest.
Yeah, protest. I actually uninstalled Google Maps, and it sucks and I fucking hate it, but I'm using MapQuest because they still say Gulf of Mexico.
I actually contacted Google Maps customer whatever,
right,
and I left a strongly worded message that basically called them cowards and challenged them to do better. Like, you are big enough to stand up to this, and if you don't, how am I supposed to feel as just one small person?
Yeah. Well, I at the very least for the next, I guess, 3.5 years, I'm going to suffer through with MapQuest unless Google decides to change back. So Google won't be getting my map data. Anyway, that's a whole other political side of things that I didn't really want to go into, but it just was very much on my mind today.
It's so stupid, but it's also like, how dare?
Yeah. So anyway, Nahum. Yeah. Is this gonna be good stuff?
I think so.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, let's get into it.
Okie dokie. All right. Let's talk about Nahum.
Nahum.
Damn.
Yeah. Let's do that.
Okay.
All right.
So he was a prophet guy, but a minor one, right?
He was, yeah.
In like the 600s of the BCEs, somewhere in there. Kind of, maybe.
No, this was closer to I thought this was closer. Oh, yeah. No, you're right. I'm sorry. I'm still lost in the last one. So yes, you're right. 600 because it was close to the Babylonian exile time. So yes.
Okay.
Sorry. Continue.
So he came from a small village, as we said. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
On the banks of the Tigris, known as El Kosh.
Okay.
Okay. And it said that in the first verse.
Yeah.
So we've already been over this a little bit.
Right.
The original text was written in biblical Hebrew.
Okay.
So that's what that is.
Sure.
And his name, just as a reminder, means comforter. And he was not very comforting to me, but he was
poesy to the murder. So I guess that as far as talking about being mass murdered, you know, if there's poetry with it, it's a little bit more comforting than if you're just like, I'm going to kill you.
Well, he was comforting to his people.
Right.
Saying,
not others.
Those fucks over there, they go get it.
Right.
And that was a form of comfort.
Yeah.
All right. Now we are going to get into something that is a little bit confusing because it involves time frames, which is not my forte. And we literally had to get out a piece of paper to write this shit down.
Yes.
Because I could not follow. So, okay. So the setting of Nahum as a prophet is separate from when the creation of the book.
Right.
Or when we're saying, okay, so there's like all these different things. There's, first of all, was Nahum a real dude? Let's say he was. When did he actually walk around? And when are we saying he walked around? And then there's like, when did he actually write the book? If he actually wrote the book, and when are we saying he wrote the book? And if somebody else wrote the book in his place, when did they write it? And when do they, what time period are they trying to portray?
Sure.
So there's like all these
what time period are they writing it from?
Yeah.
Right.
So there's just all these different questions, right?
Yeah.
And it gets really confusing when you don't have anything to go by.
Right.
But he does mention some events that let us kind of narrow it down a little bit, kind of.
Yeah.
Okay. So the setting for him as a prophet walking around, okay, was between 663 BCE and 612. 663 being when Thebes was sacked by the Assyrians.
Right.
And then when Nineveh was sacked by the Babylonians in 612.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And he mentions Thebes as he's talking about the coming doom of Nineveh.
Yeah. So obviously that was something that was in his memory, right? Like seems like that was something that he was able to recall. Thebes was in his memory. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
So, yeah. So it definitely happened after Thebes. Okay.
Okay.
Now, historians are trying to say that he was writing during that time period and just foretelling Nineveh. You know how I feel about that, but
the destruction of Nineveh in 612.
Yes.
Right.
But
Which we've talked about this in other books too, where I feel like that kind of stuff is easy to foresee because the armies, I mean, they don't move fast. They're slowly coming at you. So that stuff would be something that would be easy to foresee. But you pointed out something about the specificity of what was said about the attack on Nineveh.
Well, I mean, on the one hand, if he is reading the political winds, it doesn't take a fucking rocket science to see that this shit is about to go down.
Right.
Okay. Right. So, yeah, okay. Under those circumstances, sure, he could have written this before Nineveh fell.
Right.
But as you pointed out, with the specificity of him describing the scene, it seems more likely that he wrote it after Nineveh fell, in my opinion.
Yeah, or it was revised later in another time period.
Yes.
So
and that gets into this whole long time period of when we're saying that the book was put together, which was anywhere from between when Noamon, which is Thebes, fell in 663 BCE, all the way past Nineveh falling, all the way past a bunch of other shit that happened.
Yeah.
All the way up into shit we haven't even read about yet in the Maccabean period, which is 175 to 165 BCE.
We did touch on it in one book, but it was just a little bit of a reference. So.
Yeah. It's like we almost got there, and then we had to go back and do all these fucking minor prophets and rehash old news.
And that would, like, if I had to take my best educated guess as to what transpired, it would be something along the lines of there were probably writings from that time frame from Nahum or whatever. And then it got translated as they wanted it to be when they revised it later around the time of the Maccabees. So that would be my best guess.
Yeah, because I mean, the time of the Maccabees, from what I understand, is when they were trying to like gird their loins and get back together.
Yeah, they were pumping up the team. You know,
so they wanted to like have all these writings that were like, "We're awesome! Look how stand together,
right.
United we stand."
And God took care of our enemies. See, look, he did that. So
yeah, cool. Okay, so Nahum would have been running around spouting off his message sometime between these two events, hypothetically.
Yeah.
But then the book got put together later.
Right. And it's hard to tell exactly when it was all specifically written because of certain historical context.
Exactly. So getting past that, whenever it was written, this whole fucking 663-year period.
Right.
Okay. 600 years or so.
400-year period. But
okay, whatever. It's a lot of years.
Right.
It's centuries we're talking.
Or I'm sorry, 500.
Yeah.
500.
It's centuries though.
Yeah.
So sometime during that.
Which is why I would say there was probably something written.
Yeah.
It just probably maybe got revised later on.
Sure. So sometime while that's all happening, the book itself, he's addressing it to both Judah and Assyria.
Sure.
Okay. And the book's principal theme is about the destruction of the Assyrian city of Nineveh, which was founded, let us not ever forget, by the first world dictator, Nimrod. Okay? So, good old Nimrod.
Was it really? Okay, I think we touched on that.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
That was stated back in Genesis chapter 10, verse 11.
Whenever we talk about Nimrod, I mean, other than I know he's a great hunter is what it meant.
Yeah.
But I always associate it with the fall of the Babylonian Tower because there was something involving him with regard to that too.
Right.
So.
Yeah. Yeah. So Nineveh was the capital of the great and flourishing Assyrian Empire at that time.
Okay.
And it was a city of vast extent. It was the center of the civilization and commerce of the world.
Yeah. And as we kind of touched, we talked about this a little bit in the last episode, but they were very they were very shitty, but they were also very advanced with regard to technology for that time period.
Yes.
So.
Yes. And I'm going to say a little bit about that.
Yeah.
Okay. Nineveh was destroyed by fire around 625 BCE, and then the Assyrian Empire came to an end, thus changing the face of Asia. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it was a big deal. But there's some question, like, it got destroyed by fire, but there was also questions about it being flooded at the same time.
Right.
And that's kind of mentioned, open the gates because, open the gates to let the water through is one of the verses in there.
Yeah.
Because of it, where it's situated right on the Tigris.
Sure.
And they had aqueducts.
Okay.
And so there was this little allusion to a story that I read. Not the story itself, but the thing I read was alluding to this other story about how the king was burning everything because he's like, I'll destroy it before I let you have it kind of thing.
Yeah.
So he was destroying all of his shit. Okay.
Okay.
All his cloth and robes and stuff. Right. And so, as that may be part of why it was burning, but as it's burning and people are like seeing fire, they're also letting the water in.
Yeah.
So, that it's interesting that like it got flooded and burned.
Yeah, no, that is very interesting.
Right? It's renowned for having been burned down, but there are stories about it having also been flooded.
Right.
So
there was it also occurs to me that when we were talking about the Babylonian exile, that they actually captured Babylon with a similar method, like the water entering the city.
Yes.
That was a thing then too. So if we're talking about this like being a revisionist history type thing, it might be like a mixture of two events. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's always a possibility as well, because a lot of things get they're not exactly the correct information always because it's people taking the story here from there and putting them together.
Exactly. So, however it got destroyed, fire or water or a bit of both is just so interesting to me.
Yeah.
It did change the face of Asia. It was a big fucking deal.
Of Asia.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, this is like the Middle East that we're talking about. So Asia would have been quite a big area that would have changed.
I know.
Okay.
But let us not forget, this was the capital not just of Assyria, of the Assyrian Empire.
Yeah.
It was the capital basically of the world. It was the hub.
Okay.
So when it fell, different empires were moving around, able to do some more moving and shaking.
Got it.
Okay.
All right.
So archaeological digs have uncovered the splendor of Nineveh in its zenith. Massive walls were 8 miles in circumference.
Wow.
Yeah. It had a water aqueduct, palaces, like hundreds of palaces.
Huh.
Hundreds of towers.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It
Must
was
have been quite a sight.
huge. Yeah. It had a library with 20,000 clay tablets.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
They were quite advanced.
They were. Yeah. Including accounts of a creation story in Enema Elish, which I'll tell you what that is in a minute.
Okay.
And a flood in the Epic of Gilgamesh.
Right.
So they had both of these creation myths in their library.
Huh.
Okay. Enema Elish is a Babylonian creation myth. So they had a Babylonian creation story in their Assyrian library.
Yeah.
Like, let me just explain to you how awesome that is. Like, I belong to a library system in Ohio, okay? The Dayton Metro Library.
Yeah.
And it is fucking awesome. But it doesn't always have access to things that I want. So I'm able to go online and through the Libby app, which is an app that connects with online libraries.
Yeah.
I'm able to get in contact with other libraries in other states.
Sure. And
that
find what you want.
Yeah. So like I get geeked out when a library in, for example, Florida,
Yeah.
which is funny,
Right.
has something available or more quickly or has purchased a pre-order that Dayton Metro hasn't yet.
Right.
And I'm able to get it. I get geeked out just in Ohio to Florida. Okay. Yeah. This is fucking Assyria has in their library a Babylonian story.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It is.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Especially for the time frame.
I get really excited over book
I don't think
stuff.
it's any further than Florida would be for us, but I mean, the fact that it was harder to get to and from those places back then would have made this much more incredible at the time.
Well, not just that, but they had their own belief in how the world started, but they had information, like they had this other story of how somebody else thought the world started.
Well, I mean, knowledge is power, right?
Right, but the fact that they felt like they didn't view it as, like the librarians, that is, did not view it as, those stupid people with those stupid belief, break that story, clay tablet. They were like, interesting. Those dum-dums think the world started this way, whereas we know on our clay tablet that it started a different way.
Well, and we don't really know how their library operated. That might have just been for the elite or something like that were using it for information for military purposes or whatever.
Yeah, I know that it wasn't like a library today. Yeah, I do understand that.
You probably didn't have people with library cards checking out clay tablets.
Sure, no.
I'd love to have a picture of one of those clay tablet library cards, though.
Right? Yeah. So let's talk about this Babylonian creation myth real quick. Yeah. Again, it's Enuma Elish.
Okay.
And I looked it up to see how to pronounce it. I think I got pretty close. Okay.
Yeah.
And it is named after its opening words, meaning when on high. Okay. And it's from the late 2nd millennium BCE. And it's the only complete surviving account of ancient Near Eastern cosmology.
Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It has about 1,000 lines and is recorded in Akkadian on 7 clay tablets.
Okay.
To tell this story. 7 clay tablets. I'm sorry. I get so geeked out over library book stuff, okay? I can't help it. And it describes the creation of the world, a battle between gods focused on the offering to Marduk.
I've heard that before.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The creation of man destined for the service of the Mesopotamian deities. And then there's a long passage praising Marduk.
Okay. All right.
So it's got all this different stuff in there.
Yeah.
Okay?
I feel like we've talked about Marduk before.
We have.
Okay.
We have. There's an entire passage that's missing, but even so, they can tell context. Yeah. So this is just so cool. Okay. So Assyria lasted a few more years after the loss of its fortress in Nineveh.
Okay.
But attempts by the Egyptian pharaoh Necho II to rally the Assyrians failed due to opposition from King Josiah of Judah, and Assyria was pretty much done by 609 BCE.
Huh.
Yeah. Like it was burnt.
Just to put this in our previous talks and previous books, but it always seemed to us as we've been reading through this that Israel is in quite a strategic place in the Middle East, right? And Egypt and Babylon and the Assyrians are all kind of converging on this one spot, right? Which ends up being Israel.
Yeah.
So it almost feels like these people that lived there had this undue influence over how the world was shaped.
Yes.
At that time frame because of where they sat geographically.
Yes.
And maybe because of that specifically have an undue influence on the religions of the world.
Yes, exactly. It's true. It's true.
It was the crossroads of everything. It was the crossroads of wars. It was the crossroads of civilizations. It was the crossroads of everything. When
we call that area the Fertile Crescent, it's not just because the ground was fertile.
Right.
Like, yes, it was because, it was the land located between the Tigris and the Euphrates.
Sure.
Like that whole, place where man started, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
But it also was the creation of civilization. Like it was fertile grounds for whoever could claim that land and call it home and make it a hub.
And you had humans that lived further away, but they were more tribalistic and they were not as advanced as the people that were living here, where this is where society kind of began, so they definitely have undue influence on the current state we're in.
Yes.
With regard to this is why we're still talking about it. This is why we're reading the fucking Bible with these Bible stories because of where they were geographically. Essentially.
Isn't that amazing?
It is amazing, yeah.
Yeah. So Nahum's prophecy, going back to what we were talking about, is a warning to the Ninevites of coming events. He's like, you guys are about to burn down.
Yeah.
I have a story for you.
Yeah.
Although he is actually pretty stoked about the impending destruction and the whole thing, these 3 chapters is basically a low-key celebration of the fall of Assyria.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess if you're a religious Israelite at the time, there's 2 things going on, right? They treated people that were not of their ilk shittily. So you got, very much not good things happening to you over there.
Which we will get into.
Right. And on top of that, you would see their culture as being against a lot of the things that you stood for. So there's 2 things happening.
Yeah.
And also they are living in a city that used to be part of your land.
Yes.
So like that's got to be a sore spot for them as well.
Yeah, that's got to be a ball kicker. Yeah. So
I know Dan's not happy.
No, he's not. So, okay, now we're going to get into the actual chapters, okay?
Okay.
And I'm just going to do like a little summary, not anything extensive like I've done in the past.
Sure. Well, I didn't feel like there was a lot going on specifically in the chapters, but I mean...
But there are some things I can add and flesh out, like what I've been doing, okay? Yeah. So, chapter 1 starts with the prophecy against the Assyrians and their metropolis, with a very magnificent description of the infinite justice, tender compassion, and uncontrollable power of God, because God is, he's awesome. And so, right? Like, he's so sweet. He's so loving. Like, he's great. he's going to kill you guys.
Well, I mean, if there is a God, he's allowed Trump to become president, and I can't forgive him for that.
No, fuck that guy. So following the prophecy, an address to the Assyrians is given.
Yeah.
Okay. And so he gives a lively picture of their sudden overthrow because of their evil activities against Jerusalem.
It's always because of evil activities, right? Even to this day, like we still talk in terms of when somebody gets taken over, it was because they were evil or bad, right? Like there's a lot of that rhetoric still happening today.
Assyria actually was pretty evil and bad.
And I'm not trying to discount what they were. I'm just saying that we still talk in those terms.
Yes.
You know, because it's easier to look at a culture that gets destroyed as they deserved it as opposed to maybe they didn't deserve it.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And maybe they saw the Israelites the same way that they see, you know what I'm saying? We don't really know the other perspective here. And again, the context from what I know about the Assyrians, they seemed pretty shitty.
Yeah.
But I also do know that they were very technologically advanced, and we don't know a lot about what their side of the story was.
Actually, we do.
From what we're... Okay.
We do, because of their own records.
Got it. Okay.
Which they boasted a lot.
Well, then okay.
And it matched the records of the other cities.
Well, then they were shitty.
They were shitty. I tried to tell you this before when you were like giving this same, we don't know speech. Yeah. And I'm like, actually.
I'm just trying to be fair.
No, and I try to be fair too. But no, they literally told on themselves. And it matched the records of everybody around them that's like, I know those assholes, right?
Yeah.
So,
but if you're doing well in that society, you probably think well of it. You know what I mean? Regardless of what the shitty things that were happening were.
Wow. I don't know. Let's see. Okay. So Nahum warns all enemies that it is useless to plot against God because, he can destroy you with one blow.
Right.
If he wants to.
And also, you can't see him, so how could you plot against him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And God ain't going to need to strike twice unless he feels like it.
Right.
But he doesn't have to.
Okay. Unless you're in the early Bible where he did have to strike twice, even though he said he only had to strike once.
Yeah, exactly.
But hey, what do I know?
What do I know? I just merely read it.
Right, yeah.
So he turns to address the people of God, and he promises that God will not punish them further. Okay?
Yeah.
So he's telling Israel, or Judah, it's going to be okay. God's going to free y'all from your enemy's power.
And that's a fun message to deliver compared to a lot of the other prophets. Yeah. The prophets in general that we have read have been like, you guys better watch out. God's coming for us.
Yes.
This guy's like, no, he's coming for our enemies.
And that's why, again, he's known as the comforter.
Yeah.
Because he's like, oh, this is going to be so sweet, y'all.
Right. We're
going to be free, and these fucks are going to burn.
Yeah.
So Nahum tells the Assyrians that their gods are going to be destroyed.
Sure.
Okay? But then he tells the Judeans that their God will be victorious, and then soon a messenger will bring them news of the overthrow of Assyria, whereupon they should worship God with thanks, sincerity, and joy. Okay?
Okay.
Now, I'm going to read verse 13 from chapter 1, which we didn't stop and mention anything about at the time, and I think we should have.
Okay.
It goes, now I will break their yoke from your neck and tear your shackles away. We didn't say anything about that, but what that refers to is the tribute that the Jews were obliged to pay to the Assyrians during that time.
Okay.
Break the yoke.
Yeah, because it kind
we're
of
not
a
going to be
reference
taxed
to
anymore.
a bit of it references they refer to slavery in the same way.
Mm-hmm.
So it's basically they were under the thumb of the Assyrians.
Yes, they were being held down.
Right.
Yeah. So I felt like that was important enough to mention specifically that they will no longer be paying those tributes or tariffs or taxes or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's move into chapter 2. And Nineveh is now called upon to prepare for the approach of her enemies. And this was when we started to get into some of that really beautiful writing.
Yeah.
Beautiful, ugly writing, but beautiful nonetheless. Nahum describes the siege to come, indicating that enemy soldiers will break open the water gates, flooding the city and throwing it into confusion. Okay. Chapter 2, verse 7 reads, it is decreed that Nineveh be exiled and carried away. Her female slaves moan like doves and beat on their breasts. And we were like, what is happening there?
Yeah.
So I have a little bit of interesting stuff for that.
Okay. Yeah.
So our translation says Nineveh will be exiled and carried away. Other translations earlier say Huzzab shall be led away captive.
Okay.
Okay. We don't know what that word means.
Oh.
So perhaps Huzzab was the queen of Nineveh who had escaped the burning.
Okay.
As there's no account of the queen being burnt, only the king. Okay.
Got it. Okay.
We also hear about the concubines and the eunuchs. And so we could conclude that the queen escaped. Okay.
Got it.
And is represented here as being brought up and delivered to the conqueror.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
Like it is decreed that she, whether the city or the queen, will be exiled and carried away. Her female slaves moan like doves and beat on their breasts. Okay?
Oh, okay.
It could be.
No. That would actually make a little bit more sense, kind of.
But
it depends on how you're referencing the whole.
It works either way because some translators think that it's the queen, and then like ours didn't even make reference to it. It signifies the city itself.
Well, you gotta. I mean, if you're, putting out a copy of the Bible, you have to make a decision and go with it, right?
Yeah.
So I mean,
but usually there's footnotes.
Yeah.
And this did not even have a footnote of it. So I was like, so I really appreciated the additional notes on this one because it just makes it interesting.
It does.
Because I don't know. It works either way.
It really does.
It could be the queen or it could be the city itself.
Yeah.
So I just thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
Nahum then describes the consequent desolation and terror. He says that some of the soldiers will capture the queen and the palace harem, and others will plunder the city. So, shit's coming down, okay?
Yeah.
So ruthless and cruel were the Assyrians in their treatment of the nations they attacked that the prophet likens them to wild animals. And that's where we get the allusion to lions. Talking about them as wild animals while also reminding everybody that they had the mascot of lions.
Right.
So.
And again, I'm not going to defend what they did, but fear is a good motivator to keep people in their place too. Mm-hmm. And they probably, if they were as smart as they sound like they were with regard to the libraries and the amount of technology that they were able to produce, maybe they understood that better than a lot of the other cultures at the time.
Right.
And again, not trying to defend them, just saying that it might have just been smart tactics for them.
I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
All right. So now we're moving into chapter 3.
Okay. Yeah.
So the prophet denounces Nineveh for her idolatry and violence.
Yeah.
He describes in great detail the unrelenting slaughter to come. And he does.
Right. And yeah.
Great detail.
He does. Yeah.
Because Nineveh is a city wholly given up to superstition and the worship of false gods and leads other nations to these abominable rites.
I love how you
believe in Zeus, you dum-dum. What? You believe in Yahweh, you dum-dum.
Right. Like how is it that nobody can ever see? I'm talking about something that no one's ever seen, and yours is ridiculous.
It's
wait, what?
It's like I'm telling you that I'm riding a unicorn, but I'm making fun of you because you're saying that you got gold from a leprechaun.
Yeah.
What?
It's absurdly, just not self-aware. It's just not
Yeah.
I struggle with these comments because I'm like, wait a second, you're talking about, you're making fun of other gods.
You're making fun of...
While promoting your God.
Yeah, you're making fun of his imaginary friend because your imaginary friend you think is better.
Yeah, it's just a lot of I don't know, bravado to have for this God that you've never seen. I know you've never seen him.
Right.
So, yeah.
Very strange. So anyway, Nineveh's Nineveh totally sucks, okay?
Yeah.
It's doing all these different things, and it's not just that it's worshiping one false god, it's worshiping many false gods.
Sure.
Okay?
Well, as many cultures did back then. So yeah.
And so therefore she's going to come to a very humiliating and unpitied end. Okay.
Got it.
That's why. Okay. Not because they were just cruel. Okay.
Right.
Yeah. So
India's been doing fine, and they got a lot of gods over there, from what I understand.
they do. Yeah, they do.
They seem to be doing all right.
Sure.
So
yeah. All right, I'm going to read verse 5 from chapter 3.
Yeah.
I am against you, declares the Lord Almighty. I will lift your skirts over your face. I will show the nations your nakedness and the kingdoms your shame. And we did talk about that a little bit.
Yeah,
remember?
we did. Yeah.
And we were like, oh, yeah, why always with the nudity? Like, shame, right?
Right.
But it was an ancient custom to strip prostitutes naked or throw their clothes over their heads and expose them to public view and public humiliation, curses, and damnation.
Oh,
yeah.
So you're specifically calling out the quote unquote sinners, right?
Yeah.
Like you're like, you specifically were sinners, and here's how we're going to mock and ridicule you publicly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And also they had stockades, and they would put people in the stockades, and then the crowds could like throw shit, like literal poop.
Fun.
And, produce.
Tomatoes,
rotted,
whatever.
Yeah, throw it at the wrongdoers.
Got it.
So, yeah.
So that was a thing, huh?
That was a thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. And they would, curse them and humiliate them.
Well, yeah. I mean,
so, yeah.
It's not like you got Netflix.
True. Not only was Assyria cruel, but it was also greedy. Often it conquered nations solely to plunder them. Nahum likens Nineveh to a prostitute itself, thinking only of money and pleasure and giving no thought of morality. The prophet gives another vivid picture of the battle scene in Nineveh at that point. Okay. So now we're going to get into some of the proof that the Assyrians were fucks.
Got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
The rulers of Assyria boasted of their cruelty on monuments that exist in museums to this day.
Was that like Twitter before Twitter?
Yes. And so I read that and I was like, hold up, what? On monuments that exist in museums to this day?
Yeah.
So I did a little bit of rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I need to know
right.
what?
Yeah.
What,
where are they? What are they?
Where what?
Yeah.
Yeah. Also because some of the sources that I use are Christian apologists, and I want to make sure when I quote that, like, that
it's real.
Well, not only that it's real, but that when they say something's in a museum, that it's like a real museum.
Sure.
Not like somebody's garage. I'm sorry. I don't think that your backyard little shroud of Turin or whatever is real.
Right.
I don't believe your toast.
Yeah.
Your Jesus toast.
Right.
So I just wanted to make sure. I was like, wait, what museum? What do they have? So in royal inscriptions, and I will get to the museums in a minute.
Okay.
In royal inscriptions, Assyrian leaders describe using intimidation to suppress uprisings. Populations that resisted were dealt with more severely than those who surrendered, which kind of makes sense.
That makes sense, yeah.
The systematic destruction of whole cities was common, like raze them to the ground.
Okay, I'm going to push back a little bit here because there were many instances of the Israelites razing cities to the ground early on.
Totally.
When they had power.
Oh, yeah. And we called them fucks at the time, too.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So I mean, if we're going to take this into the context of all history at that time, right? Is that any worse than what the Israelites were doing?
I'm building up to something.
Okay.
No, this is not the cruelty yet.
Okay.
This is merely, just like everybody did, they totally knocked down cities and killed people, blah, 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 right? Like, that's boring. We've done that.
Sure.
Okay. Excavations of cities such as Nineveh and Lachish, which we've talked about.
Yeah.
Those are modern-day Iraq and Israel, respectively.
Okay.
Reveal destruction layers consistent with violent conquest and looting.
Got it.
Assyrian siege ramps and battering rams, like those depicted in reliefs that we have found, have been found at sites they attacked. Yeah.
Okay.
So we have found Assyrian shit over here in the cities that they knocked down.
Got it.
Yeah. So Assyrian records describe each city's transformation and the way religious sites, temples, and palaces were affected by their assaults. And by affected, I mean knocked down.
Right. Yeah.
Like boom, baby, boom. Okay.
Yep.
Letters and administrative records confirm mass deportations. Can you imagine, like, I'm just carving this on my clay stone. How many people did I deport today?
Well, they obviously revered the written word.
Yeah, record keeping was like very important for them. Yeah. Though many captives were retained as slaves, and the source that I read said enforced, what was it? Like forced labor.
Sure.
And I was like, you mean slaves?
Right. Yeah.
Let's call a spade a spade.
That's like when we were, they said servant way too many times in the Bible.
And I was like, yeah, that's a slave.
Yeah.
Do they have the freedom to not serve you? then that's a slave.
Right. Yeah.
Though many captives were retained as slaves, often large-scale resettlements were carried out, and at one point, over 150,000 individuals were relocated to different regions. Yeah, wow. That's a huge amount of people for that time.
Yeah.
Okay. Many were assigned to new lands within the Assyrian Empire, and these measures aimed to integrate conquered populations.
Sure.
Like, if I'm mixing everybody up with each other, you don't know anybody. So, like, it keeps you from, whispering in the corner over there where I'm not looking and, starting a rebellion, right?
Well, yeah, if you're around people that are loyal to us, we know that they'll keep an eye on you while, like...
Well, and none of you speak the same language, so there's that too.
Yeah.
And, you're you're a fish out of water. You don't know where anything is. You don't know anybody. You don't know the local customs.
Sure.
Yeah. So this would prevent future uprisings and strengthen their control.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Here we go. We're going to start getting down to it, okay?
Okay.
Assyrian palace reliefs depict their successful conquest of the Judean city of Lachish. Detailed inscriptions boast of captured residents being taken into exile or subjected to harsh punishments, brutal acts that included flaying their enemies alive, cutting off limbs, like by limbs, I mean fingers, toes,
torture.
Noses, ears, lips.
Right.
Like they would chop up little pieces of them.
Sure.
They would impale them, burn them alive. So sometimes they would chop off your pieces and then they would impale you. And while you're still alive, impaled with pieces missing, they would burn you alive.
Right.
Like any combination hereof. Okay. And then they would stack pyramids of the severed heads that had eyes gouged out and tongues torn out at the city gates as a warning to others. Okay.
Yeah.
The skins of defeated enemies were sometimes displayed publicly along city walls to discourage rebellion.
I mean, that would do it for me.
Right?
I probably, Yeah. I'll pass.
Yeah. So, I mean, they were harsh.
They were harsh, but again, these are effective measures for the time frame. When you're talking about warring, there's all these warring factions, right?
No, it's true. I mean, they kept their shit straight. And they kept records of the shit that they kept
I'm not trying to defend the actions that they did.
No, not at all.
We're talking about thousands of years ago.
It was a very
barbaric times.
It was a very organized barbarian society.
Yeah.
Right?
And they knew how to effectively, cull the people that they were attacking. Mm-hmm. Like they understood how to control them and how to make them scared enough not to fight back.
Yeah.
Right? So, I mean, yes, they were terrible. They were absolutely terrible, but they were very, very effective.
They were smart and effective. Yeah. And I will say the word great has many meanings.
Sure.
And I think that they were great leaders. And I don't mean that great as in good. Right. I mean great as in the word effective. You used was effective.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Records from the Babylonians and the Elamites each separately describe the Assyrian brutality.
Sure.
Which we have records of. So all of this lines up with their records in depicting ruthless military campaigns.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. Like we have their story of themselves, and then we have all these other people that are bitching about them. We have their records too.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So here are the various museums where you can find some of these really cool things.
Okay.
The British Museum in London, the Louvre in Paris, the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York, the Iraq Museum in Baghdad, and the Pergamon Museum in Berlin.
I feel like we've talked about this before at some point.
We might have.
Because I recall going over some some museums that held these things
cool
before.
Stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we have talked about the Assyrians multiple times.
Yes.
So I feel like this is, when you said that, it kind of just rang a bell in my head. Like, I think we've talked about this before.
We might have.
So it could be wrong, but yeah.
There's some cool stuff happening in history,
Well, yeah.
So.
No, and that like, I feel like we could do this whole Bible over again at some point.
Yeah.
As a historical time frame, and then relating it to the books as like, like this is between this book and that book. Like that's something that I think that's as a project that we do maybe after we're done with this whole thing.
I would love that.
I would love to spearhead that.
To put things into better context for myself.
Well, and for myself, I love history and how it relates to everything, right? And I feel like that aspect of understanding the Bible is very, very important because there are so many cultures that disappear or get integrated or get moved around or, whatever the case may be, but it's hard to see it all through the lens of what we're reading in the Bible. And you have to step out and see it from the greater lens of what's going on in the world at the time.
Yeah.
And that's something that I would be very interested in putting back into context with regard to the Bible.
Yeah. Totally.
Because it would make things make a little bit more sense, I think, sometimes. So
totally agree. Each of those museums that I mentioned houses artifacts showcasing Assyrian history, such as royal inscriptions, reliefs, or cuneiform texts in the form of letters and administrative records. These artifacts are all evidence of Assyrian military campaigns, warfare, propaganda, and governance, spelling out their use of terror as a psychological weapon for empire building.
Which is why I was saying they're very smart.
Yeah.
Like, to share this stuff publicly on things is terrifying to your enemies.
Yeah.
Right? They're like, that's what they're going to do to us.
If we lose.
I'll skip the rebellion meeting tonight, guys. I'm out.
I have a date at McDonald's. Me. All right, so moving on.
Yeah.
Okay. Nineveh's final ruin will be similar to that of Thebes, says our guy Nahum. Okay.
Yeah. Which also is to say, you guys did this terrible thing to that city over there. Now it's going to happen to you.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah.
So, and Noamon, Thebes was a very famous city, Egyptian city.
Yeah.
So, just a reminder.
Sure.
The prophet then describes the great ease with which the strongholds of Nineveh will be taken. He declares that all her preparation, her vast numbers, her great opulence, and her many strong leaders will be of no avail in the day of the Lord's vengeance, and that her tributaries will desert her.
Or Babylonians' vengeance.
Yeah.
Whichever way you want to look at that.
Sure. Yeah. Nahum reminds Nineveh of what happened to the city of Thebes in Egypt. It was very well defended and had strong allies, but it was conquered and its people were taken into captivity. So he's like,
it could happen to you guys. It's going to happen to you guys too.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's saying the same will happen to Nineveh. Its outlying fortresses will be demolished easily. When troops in the city hear of this, they will lose courage and the city will be overthrown. Okay. And now I'm going to read verse 9 from chapter 3. Cush and Egypt were her boundless strength. Put and Libya were among her allies. And I mentioned at the time that Cush was in the upper Nile region.
Yeah.
Also, I wanted to remind everybody that Cush is Ethiopia.
Got it.
Which I know I've said before, but I always forget.
Sure.
So that just puts it a little bit...
Slightly different political sway than what Egypt is, essentially. So, I mean, it's a different... Because like we've talked about them as separate entities in the past, but it's not as relevant to the Bible a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Except for a couple of points.
The queen of...
Yeah. Who was it? Was it... which one?
Bathsheba, wasn't it?
Well, no. Bathsheba was part of... No. Bathsheba was one of the mothers of one of the people for Israel.
Samuel.
But it was the Queen of Sheba.
Queen of Sheba, yeah. Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
I get my Shebas mixed up.
She visited, oh, God.
Oh, was that Samuel?
It might have been, it was whatever.
No, Solomon.
Solomon, yes.
It was Solomon.
The wise one, that's right.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Sorry.
That was going to bug me because I knew the answer, but I couldn't come up with it on the spot.
Yeah, she came to see him.
Yeah.
And then took away the the ark.
Maybe, yeah.
I think.
Sure.
I think she got it in Ethiopia.
Well, still theories about that. So
I know. It's a great story anyway. Yeah. So Put and Libya, Put is a part of Africa. Okay.
Yeah.
So this part of Africa named Put and Libya were all within reach of forming alliances with Thebes.
Okay.
No Ammon.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's a really big deal when he's like talking about these cities. They were strong and they were helping Thebes. Yeah. And Thebes still went down.
Yeah.
So I don't know, I don't know what to tell you.
Sure.
You're going down.
Right.
Fuck off. They may store water in case of a siege and strengthen the city walls to withstand the battering rams, but all their precautions and preparations will prove to be useless, and the city will be burnt to the ground and left as bare as a field that has been stripped by locusts. And we had mentioned something about the way they phrase the locusts. So I wanted to just say a little bit about that, and then we'll be done. Okay?
Yeah.
So verse 17 reads, your guards are like locusts, your officials like swarms of locusts that settle in the walls on a cold day, but when the sun appears, they fly away and no one knows where. And we were like, what? And because you were like, I thought they swarm. Yeah. What is happening? So here's the thing. The locusts are said to lie in shelter around the hedges of fertile spots when the weather is really cold.
Okay.
So they'll settle in and curl up in balls and be like, it's so cold.
Right.
Or during the night, right?
Yeah.
But as soon as the sun shines and it's hot, they come out to forage or they take to their wings.
Got it.
So, that's when you can't catch them. Right. They're just...
Well, they're swarming.
They're swarming.
Or they're doing something.
Yeah. So anyway, that's what they were saying about that. Okay?
Got it. Yeah.
About the locusts. Assyria's leaders are going to be killed, leaving the people leaderless and an easy prey for the attackers. Assyria will fall, never to rise again, and those who suffered from its cruelty will then rejoice. Yeah. And so that's the entire book of Nahum.
Yeah. I just have one comment, and that's that I think that it's based on something I was talking about earlier in the in this episode, and that's that I think it's very relevant that the Israelites, this culture that lives in Israel, is right in the middle of all this shit happening, right? And the entire concept of what God is based on translating these events through the lens of their God.
Right.
Right. So the Bible is essentially just that, a translation of everything that is happening to and around these people that live there.
Right. So it's this huge funnel. And so we're missing so much stuff because they're funneling all of it through their one little...
Right. Well, and the fact that the culture kind of centers in the same area for, thousands of years. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
It allowed this God to become and grow into what it has eventually become.
Right.
Right. And it was just the seeds of what it became.
Right.
And it's kind of cool in the grand scheme of things of seeing how this all came about. And I guess just in the sense of that's why we deal with it still, because this is such a important plot of land to this ancient culture.
Yeah, if you're looking at it if you're just an uninvolved third party standing off of the earth, right? Yeah. And you're just looking at the planet and you're holding this blue sphere in your hand and you're just looking at it and twisting it back and forth.
Like a god?
Yeah. And you're just that's pretty cool. You know what I mean?
If we could get another couple thousand years down the road without gods involved in anything, it would be much like we talk about the Greek and Roman gods, right?
Yeah.
It could be a really neat story.
Yes. It's objectively interesting. It's objectively cool.
Yeah. Depending on how it gets told.
Yeah.
Right? If we're still dealing with people quoting it for this reason or that reason, then it gets a little less fun to deal with, right?
Yeah, part's not the part I enjoy.
Yeah, that's not part. But the interesting way in which it describes the formation of this culture could be very interesting.
Yes.
If we could get outside of the religiosity of it.
Right. Yeah.
So that just, it occurred to me as we were reading through this today that it's just an interesting place that they were in the world, and that's all that happened.
Yeah.
So anyway, you got anything else for us, or was that it?
That's it.
All right, that was it for Nahum, and we'll be back soon. You've got some things going on, so
yeah, I'm still helping out my friend. Her mom is still trying to have her medical issues taken care of, so I'm helping this family out. And the next episode that we do, whenever we're kind of playing
when we're able to get to it,
is going to be the "You're
episode.
Always Wrong" and the pop quiz, and then
I'll
we'll
get the weekly replay out after that,
and then we'll get into Habakkuk.
Habakkuk, huh? All right. Well, that's it for
Nahum.
All right, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Hey, wife, I guess that's the end?
But husband, that's just sad.
It doesn't have to be. We are on lots of social media platforms like Twitter. Our handle there is sacrilegious_D.
For D's nuts.
Oh my God. Stop doing that. Anyway, we're also on Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest. There's a link to all of our social media sites at our website.
Ooh, we have a website?
Yeah, it's sacrilegiousdiscourse.com, where you can also find a link to our merch shop.
We have a merch shop?
Yep, we have podcast-themed clothing, mugs, notebooks, and more, as well as an atheist and science-themed products.
Wow, our fans should really go check that out right now.
Definitely. They can get in touch with us by sending an email to sacrilegiousdiscourse@gmail.com. But before they do that, we could really use some help.
Oh yeah? With what?
Well, it's not free running the podcast, and we need some financial support in order to get better equipment, which will free up time so we can concentrate on our podcast and our fans.
Okay, so what should they do?
Head over to patreon.com/sacrilegiousdiscourse and sign up as a contributor on our podcast. Supporters there receive additional bi-weekly episodes that we record just for our Patreon members for as little as $2 a month.
Also, we'd really appreciate it if you would like and subscribe on whatever platform you're using.
And Apple Podcast reviews help us out tremendously.
Like and subscribe. Leave an Apple review. Join us on Twitter. Support us on Patreon. That's a lot of instructions. Don't forget to say thanks.
Thanks.
Okay, bye.